We're about to unveil one of the greatest secrets in the Bible. One of the greatest secrets for going forward. If you apply these secrets, nobody can stop you. If you apply these secrets, your enemies cannot stop you. If you see anybody applying this secret, don't try to stop them, because God will fight you. The message this morning is the power of obedience. Write it down. The power of obedience. Child of God, if you are suffering stagnancy in your life, I can trace it to an instruction you have not obeyed. If you are not going as fast and as far as God wants you to go, I can trace it to an instruction you have not obeyed. If you see any Christian going forward with speed, they are doing something God told them to do. If you see anybody that was going forward before that stopped going forward, they stop following instructions. Please follow me carefully. The easiest way to make it in life is to be obedient. The power of obedience. So God gave Moses an instruction. He says, speak unto the children of Israel that they go forward. When they started obeying, then God gave Moses the secret. He said, but stretch out your hands towards the Red Sea, and then I will pass the sea. My power will be released. The power of God in your life is limited to your obedience. Write it down. The power of God in your life is limited to your obedience. The manifestation of the power of God in your life is limited to your obedience. Until you obey, God will not release the power. So that's why God said, tell them to go forward. When they started attempting to go forward, then God released the power. Parted the Red Sea. God released the power, killed their enemies. God actually fought for them. Why? They were obeying Him. We'll read a few more verses, and then we will look at the definition of obedience. Child of God, if I can get you to do this one thing, be obedient. You will never go backward in your life. No matter when people stand up against you, God will always fight for you. The number one reason I know that Christians that make stop Christians from going forward is disobedience. And I'll prove it from scriptures. When you finally want to go forward, you make up your mind, I will not struggle with God again. I will not argue with God again. Whatever He tells me to do, I will do it. Once you get to that point, there's no stopping. But until you get to that point, you will be struggling to go forward. You may not struggle to go forward again in the name of Jesus. Every Christian that has ever gotten to that point, where they finally surrender to the Lord, that God, whatever I tell you to do, I will do. Those people, they don't struggle again. If you see anybody like that, they are dangerous people. You can't stop them. You can't stop them, sir. Child of God, you are not unstoppable until you make up your mind to obey God completely. Exodus chapter 14, verse 16. But lift thou up thy rod, and stretch out thy hand over the sea, and divide it. And the children of Israel shall go on dry ground through the midst of the sea. And I, behold, I will harden the hearts of the Egyptians, and they shall follow them. And I will get me honor upon Pharaoh and upon all his hosts, upon his chariots and upon his horsemen. And the Egyptians shall know that I am the Lord, when I have gotten me honor upon Pharaoh, upon his chariots and upon his horsemen. Watch this now. From the moment the Israelites began to follow the instruction of God, God began to fight for them. God began to make a way for them. Are you still here? I can't help us again. Are you still here? If it's as if you are struggling by yourself, God's hand is not in it. God cannot be fighting for you and you will not see the sign. If you see that you are the only one making effort, anytime you don't make effort, nothing works. Just know that God is not fighting for you. God's hands are so big that anytime He's fighting for a person, there must be evidences. May you see those evidences from today in the name of Jesus. Watch this now. As they began to obey, what happened next? Verse 19. And the angel of God, which went before the camp of Israel, removed and went behind them. And the pillar of cloud went from before their face and stood behind them. Because the Egyptians were chasing after them, they were coming with speed. As they chose to obey God and pass through the dry ground on the Red Sea that God had parted for them, God knew that even if they were obeying and passing, the Egyptians would come very fast. So God moved the angel that was in front and put behind them. The angel was there to protect them from behind. Anytime you're obeying God, God protects you. We'll talk about that in a moment. There are certain things that they happen in your life, you should stand up and ask yourself, where did I miss it? Have somebody prayed? And the angel of God which went before the camp of Israel removed and went behind them. And the pillar of cloud went from before their face and stood behind them. And it came between the camp of the Egyptians and the camp of Israel. And it was a cloud and darkness to them, but it gave light by night to these, so that one came not near the other all the night. Look at me. We have done all night prayer before. Am I correct? We have done all night, all manner of all night. Child of God, the Israelites did all night obedience, and God did all night fighting for them. Throughout the night, they obeyed God and they were passing through the Red Sea. God took the pillar of cloud that was in front of them and put behind them. That pillar of cloud, when the Egyptians saw it, it was darkness. They couldn't move, they couldn't come close to them. Throughout the night, the Egyptians could not move with their horses. As long as the Israelites were taking steps of obedience, the enemies behind them could not move. That's what the Bible says. Give me another translation, verse 20. Exodus 14:20. Bible in Basic English. Exodus 14:20. This morning, we're going to be seeing advantages of obedience. In the second service, we'll look at the dangers of disobedience. And it came between the army of Egypt and the army of Israel, and there was a dark cloud between them, and they went on through the night. But the one army came no nearer to the other all the night. The Egyptians could not take a step close to them, as long as they were obeying God. So not only did God empower them to go forward, empower them to march forward, empower them to advance and to progress, but God also stopped what would have stopped them from marching forward. Lift up the right hand. As you obey God from today, whatever was stopping you from going forward, marching forward, advancing and making progress, let it be destroyed in the mighty name of Jesus.